Megyn Kelly and Richard Fowler, who's actually part of TYT Network, went at it on Fox News over the Muhammad cartoon shooting in Texas. So let's watch here. And I have a takeaway that might surprise some people.
Richard, I say this to Bill. The relevant question is not, did those under attack say something offensive? The relevant question is, what do we do about a group that wants to kill us for exercising our constitutional rights? And you say?
This is what I agree with Bill 100%, and for once in my life I agree with Bill. But here's the distinction. Let me parse your question just a little bit if I can. It's because there's one thing, yes, there are people that want to kill us. ISIS wants to kill us. Al-Qaeda wants to kill us. But Muslims as a whole do not want to kill us, right? And I think that's part of the problem. So when you go around and you depict who they worship as some sort of caricature or some sort of cartoon, it's offensive and it's wrong.
Right.
We would feel the same. I would feel the same way if I would feel the same if somebody depicted Jesus as a crazy cartoon.
Right, it's offensive.
But
there's no debate about whether it's offensive. Everybody knows it's offensive.
It is offensive, and I think Gallagher was really putting this on to create attention, to promote her organization. Geller, excuse me.
She was promoting, even if you hate her message, she was promoting free speech. And as Rich Lowry put it in a column today, he writes, criticism of Islam is at the vanguard of the fight for free speech since it is susceptible to attack and intimidation by jihadists and calls for self-censorship by the politically correct.
There's nothing wrong with free speech, but as Donald Trump put it, be smart, not stupid. Why would you invoke attacks on the people coming to your event by doing something something that's so ridiculous?
We in this country need to limit our constitutional rights. We have to limit our free speech.
But to some extent,
let me finish. Lest we invite attack, or as O'Reilly put it, spur an attack against us. That's the way we need to be looking at this.
Freedom of speech is an enumerated right that also comes with the freedom of religion, the freedom of press, and the freedom of association. Muslims should be free to worship, just like Christians should be free to worship. And freedom of speech comes with limits, and this is a clear limit.
No, it
isn't. It's just like going into a movie theater and yelling out fire, or walking into a black church and yelling out the N-word.
No.
Neither of those things you would do. They're offensive, and they will invoke a reaction.
You are fundamentally confused and wrong, and the U.S. Supreme Court has been very clear on this.
I think you're fundamentally wrong, Megyn. It just doesn't make any sense.
Why don't you go back and look at Westboro Baptist Church?
We can talk about case after case.
You had your say, and now I will respond. The decision issued in 2011, 8-1, a nearly unanimous Supreme Court, the liberals and the conservatives joining together, saying that notwithstanding the fact that the Westboro Baptist Church, as hateful as they come, offered hurtful and speech which did not contribute hardly at all to the public discourse. It was negligible value. Nonetheless, free speech still supported allowing them to do it. And the American people overwhelmingly support that principle.
This is not about case law. This is about common sense. And this organization has lost their common sense completely.
And that this is akin to yelling fire in a movie theater, which is not protected speech.
Well, it's a complete and total utter loss of common sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you paint a caricature of another group's God and say it's okay and laugh at it and expect them not to respond? Why would you show up at the funerals of
dead soldiers and say God hates FAGS?
I'm not condoning the Westboro Baptist Church. I hate them just as much as I hate this group.
Offensive the speech is, Richard, the more protection it needs. That's how the First Amendment works.
Exactly, but it doesn't mean you should do it.
We can defend the First Amendment right to say it without aligning ourselves with the message.
It doesn't mean you should do it. The First Amendment does give us the right to freedom. So it doesn't mean you should go out there and do it. Right? It doesn't mean you should go out there and do stupid things like what they did.
Here's the issue. When people exercise their First Amendment rights and two jihadis show up to murder them, the relevant question at that time is not what were they saying. The relevant question is, what are we going to do about this group of people that wants to murder us because we believe in free speech and the First Amendment?
If they never had that event, the jihadis would have never shown up. That's the cart before the horse. It's just that simple.
They had it coming. I mean, what? If you didn't do the thing, the jihadists wouldn't have shown up. I mean, come on, just don't do the thing where you're having free speech and you're mocking a religion, and then the jihadists won't kill you. It's very simple. I mean, what do you expect to happen? If you mock them, they're going to show up and kill you. So just don't do it. Where does that end? So what? Can I no longer criticize neo-Nazis because they might kill me? Can I no longer criticize sovereign citizens or the KKK because they might kill me? Should I no longer criticize any group? But wait. Why are we focusing on the victims here? Make no mistake about it. You might not like these people, and I might agree with you that the people who held the event are bad people, but they are the victim of a crime here. You're quite literally doing victim blaming. If you're focused on a situation where, on the one hand, you have people doing something offensive, and on the other hand, you have people who came to kill those people. If you're more outraged by the offensiveness of what the group is doing, your moral compass is broken. Your moral compass is broken. Because the thing you should be more focused on is those people tried to kill these people because they did something offensive. That's the biggest injustice that happened here. But you're going to focus on the offensive nature of what the people said? And just like Megyn Kelly was getting at there, the Westboro Baptist Church, yeah, they're hateful assholes, and they're bigots, and they're terrible people, and they protest the funerals of dead soldiers, and they say God hates fags and stuff like that. But guess what? They're allowed to do it, and especially if somebody shows up and tries to gun them down, we need to be the first people to stand up and say, leave the Westboro Baptist Church alone. You can't kill them because they're saying outrageous shit. You're allowed to say outrageous shit. Your moral outrage should be directed at the people who are carrying out a violent crime. We're talking about people who drew fucking cartoons here. We're just now expecting, like, oh, you drew a cartoon that this person doesn't like. Now they can do violence against you. That we should just expect that. Just expect it. Well, for fuck's sake, Richard, the fucking network you work for, by your standard, people would have a green light to come and kill me or do violence against me because I viciously mock all religion, including Islam. I do it all the time. They would have a green light to go and do damage to Cenk because Cenk has gone on, anti-Islamic rants for extended periods of time where he said, fuck your religion repeatedly and things of that nature. So what are you, if he didn't do that rant, then the people wouldn't have came and killed him. If he just should not do that rant and then everything would be okay. It's simple. Are you lacking common sense? No, Richard, I'm sorry, but it looks like you're the one who's lacking common sense. I hate to say it. I think if you flip the religions from both Richard Fowler and other liberals, you get people saying, come on, you're going to blame the victims and say they shouldn't have made fun of Jesus? Of course they can make fun of Jesus. Or let's say, make an even more understandable example. The premiere of Bill Maher's documentary Religulous when it came out. Let's say, a Pat Robertson devotee who was a little off in the head and he was violent came to try to kill Bill Maher and the other movie maker when it was released. Would Richard Fowler say, well, Bill shouldn't have released the movie? He shouldn't have released the movie, and then he wouldn't have been killed by the religious crazy person, by the right-wing Christian. I don't think he would make that argument. I think the argument he would make is, this is freedom of speech. This is protected. Look, what I want liberals to understand is that there are two separate conversations that they're trying to have at the same time here. One conversation is legitimate victimization of Muslims in the United States of America and elsewhere. That's one conversation where I have a lot to say, and I agree with the progressives in this conversation, where we say, look at the hate crime rate after 9/11, it shot up significantly. Look at the Palestinians and how they're treated and how they're being prevented from having a state and how they're oppressed across the board. Look at the NSA basically admitting they're spying on moderate Muslims. Look at people like Peter King who want to do, stereotyping of Muslims at the airport, and these are people who have been apologists for torture and terrible Middle East foreign policy. If you want to have that conversation about true Muslim oppression, I'm with you. But that's a different conversation from this one. Because in this conversation, sorry, but the people who are the oppressors are the fucking jihadists who tried to kill people for making a cartoon, regardless of if you like the people who drew the cartoon. And just real quick here, another thing that I think liberals are missing in this, specifically Richard Fowler in this case, is that moderate Muslims, by definition, would not kill somebody for drawing Muhammad. So when he makes this argument that, like, why would you offend all Muslims by drawing the Muhammad cartoon? But wait a second. The Muslims that are moderate are going to look at that and just brush it off and move on with their life. Because if you're a moderate, by definition, you're not going to get angry at somebody drawing a cartoon. So I actually think in a weird way they're being more condescending to Muslims. Whereas I understand there's plenty of moderate Muslims in the world where they see the drawings of Muhammad and they laugh or they say, fuck it, I'm going to draw my own and fire back at these people. There's an article out today, Raw Story has it up. Moderate Muslims draw cartoon pictures of Muhammad in response to this, mocking the people in Texas. That's the way you respond to it, and that's the way true moderates do respond to it. So to say, like, I'm going to speak out on behalf of all Muslims and say you cannot offend their religion, But real moderate Muslims are saying it's fine if you draw the Prophet. I don't care. There was somebody who sent me a great speech from some Muslim leader somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. It was a brief clip. I watched it for a little bit. And the guy was going on and on about how, no, the Prophet Muhammad does not care if people are drawing things at him. He's Muhammad. He's the Prophet. Such petty little issues as somebody drawing something. He doesn't care about that. If they do that, you brush it off and you move along. Your faith is stronger than somebody drawing a cartoon. That's not going to change anything you believe. So just move along. It's no big deal. That's what the moderate Muslim reaction is. So when you say, why are you offending all Muslims with the cartoon? You're not offending all Muslims. If somebody's offended to the point where they try to kill you for drawing a cartoon, that person is a fundamentalist. They are an extremist. And just last thing, he said free speech comes with limits, and this is a clear limit. Could not disagree more. The whole purpose of free speech is that if the idea is content, I disagree with that content or that content or that content is too extreme or that content is wrong, you cannot censor somebody or declare that what they're saying is illegal or throw them in jail or fine them because of the content of what they're saying. So you can't say, oh, this is a clear limit. Why is it a clear limit? It's a clear limit because a lot of people are offended by it? Well, for fuck's sake, if that's the barometer, if that's the standard, Secular Talk can't exist anymore. Because virtually every show, I piss off a majority of conservatives in the country. Every show, I piss off Christians, I piss off Muslims, I piss off everybody. Right? So if that's your standard, well, a lot of people don't like it, so you shouldn't do it. Everybody's got their sacred cows. I was saying earlier on Twitter, I'm offended when people don't believe in universal health care, don't believe in a single-payer system. I think that shows profound ignorance of what healthcare system is the best. But does that mean I'm censoring you because you said that? You can never say that again. I'm going to throw you in jail because you don't agree with me. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you because you disagree with me on this. That doesn't make any sense. We're not supposed to live in a society where people get to throw people in jail or censor them or kill them for saying something that you don't like. That's not the society that we live in, and that's not the society we should live in. It's a different conversation to say, hey, I don't like Pam Geller, I don't like her group, and I disagree with her on all these issues and these policy issues. I'm with you 100% on that. I lead the charge on that. I've mocked Pamela Geller endlessly before. She's not a smart person. She's a right-wing kook. So I agree with you on that, but that's a separate conversation from essentially looking at a situation where murderers tried to murder people and you're standing there blaming the victim because they offended the murderers. It doesn't fucking matter if they did that. Fix your moral compass.